What exactly makes us human? I'd like to ask all of you to let me know in the comments below, what is your answer to that question, and have you ever thought of it before? It may seem like an unnecessary thing to ask, but it can become crucial in helping you better understand who you are and what you want out of life. And also a question that can't be avoided when talking about the topic of AIs and their role in society. Because, as John Slotnick wrote in his 1983 book called 𝐋𝐢𝐿, I sometimes wonder whether robots were invented to answer philosophers' questions. A question that we may be forced to ask ourselves even sooner than we anticipate, because technology has always been a fundamental part of humanity. We humans have always had to make up for our physical shortcomings by creating tools and machines that would ensure our survival. And so, it is only logical to conclude that humanity will one day inevitably invent artificial intelligence. A concept that goes as far back as the ancient Greeks, who had tales about Talos the Giant and Pandora, automated and crafted beings capable of their own individual actions. It's an idea that humans have been dreaming about for millennia, and understandably so as well. To believe that we can create something truly capable of its own mind and its own consciousness, well, that's the ultimate goal. But what philosophical and moral dilemmas await us if this dream comes to fruition? A question that is best answered by one of the most underrated animes of the current season, Vivy Fluorite Eyes Song, an anime that tackles many philosophical questions head-on, and also an anime that presents the question of human existence beautifully well.
私の使命は歌でみんなを幸せにすること。
Taking place in the year 2056, human technology has advanced to the point where autonomous artificial intelligence with android bodies can be created. It's a world in which our dream of an AI future came to fruition. But they're not perfect, of course. Nothing can ever be. And so, to overcome programming constraints, all AIs are programmed to fulfill one specific mission. Their meaning of life, you could even say. The one reason for their creation. We, the audience, are then introduced to a songstress AI named Diva, whose sole mission is to make everyone happy with her singing, and to do that by singing with all her heart. But she has a hard time fulfilling that goal. She can't quite wrap her head around what it means to put her heart into something, since, well, it's a concept that is completely foreign to an AI. And so, her singing suffers due to her lack of understanding. But before she has any time to pursue her mission any further, she is confronted by another AI named Matsumoto, an AI that came from a future in which artificial intelligence has risen up against humans and slaughtered them in masses. He was then sent back by his creator to prevent this war from happening. And from this point on, Diva's 100-year journey to save the world begins. Together with Matsumoto, they both tackle various different points in history that led to the AI uprising. Points in history that made humans question AI rights and whether or not AIs can think and feel for themselves. Points in history that had to be modified by any means necessary. It turns out to be a journey that is filled with hardship and pain, but also a journey that ends with Diva finally realizing what it means to put her heart into something. A journey that made her, an AI, realize what it means to be human.
今の私はディーバではありません。私の名前はビビ。ビビは滅びの未来を変えるための AI を滅ぼす AI です。
Vivy Fluorite Eyes Song is an anime that tackles many deep philosophical questions, the greatest of which is the question of whether AIs are capable of feeling and thinking or not. A theme that is perfectly portrayed within the show's main character, Diva, or as we later get to know her as, Vivy. A name that was probably derived from the Latin word vivi, meaning living. And this is the real question after all. Can a machine live? Can it under any circumstances be classified as a living being? Can it die and lose its memories, or is it just simply defined by all the bolts and parts that make up its body? Well, I don't think this is a question that can be answered just yet. Not without hearing what an AI has to say about it, that is. But nonetheless, it's a question that is formed within the being of Vivy herself. Throughout the entire show, she questions what it means to put one's heart into something. A concept that not even we humans can fully understand. A concept that goes far beyond just a calculated mission set by the programmer. Because unlike other AIs that came before her, Vivy appears to have a free will. Stemming from the lack of a clear goal, it's up to her to interpret what her mission is supposed to mean, and therefore, in a way, that allows her to develop a free will of her own. Making Vivy the bridge between AIs and humans. An AI in search for a mission and a purpose just like we always are. But that being said, AIs are not and will never be human. Because for us to create something, we first need to understand how that thing works. And so, we humans can never dream to create another human through simple craft and science. We don't understand ourselves enough to do so. I mean, we can't even wrap our heads around our emotions and around what love truly is. So what hope do we have in trying to create a conscious replica? But maybe we don't even have to. After all, just because they're not like us doesn't mean that we can't learn from them. The idea of artificial intelligence in itself already has a great potential of helping us better understand ourselves and humanity as a whole. Because if something looks like us, talks like us, and appears to think like us, then why wouldn't it be human? Well, this is exactly why the concept of AIs has been plaguing us for thousands of years. It forces us to figure out what makes us humans special. It forces us to find out what would differentiate a human from an AI. And without a religious god, this dilemma becomes really complicated to solve. In religion and mythology though, this would be quite an easy question to answer. We humans, we are also artificially created life forms, but we were created by God or some other divine being. And so, frankly put, AIs are different from us because they were simply created by mere humans and not gods. But what happens if you're not religious or spiritual? Well, then this dilemma becomes a lot harder to solve. Why would then something that behaves exactly like us not be like us? Would that then mean that AIs and humans are alike? That they are the same? And what are the implications of that? What exactly would be the point of it all if you could just create humans out of basic physical materials? How pointless would life become then? How meaningless would it all seem? How worthless a human life would become? Would life even have any purpose at all then?
あなただって私にとっては妹忘れないで、ビビ。私たちは AI は使命に生きるの。あなたもそうでしょ
？Vivy is an AI that I don't believe would be possible in the real world. And why? Well, because when trying to explain humanity's uniqueness without talking about God or the universe, Vivy herself is the only way I can find to do so. She perfectly represents the difference between AIs and humans. Though I'm specifically not talking about Diva, I only mean Vivy, the AI who got that name from her one true living friend. A human girl who loved to hear her sing and who taught her many things about what it means to be human. And so, throughout the last 100 years, Vivy became the perfect embodiment of humanity's uniqueness. Because to be human means that unlike an AI, you don't live for a single purpose, but rather, you live regardless of a purpose, but always in search of one. Unlike an AI, we don't just turn off ourselves when we fulfill our mission. We keep on living and continue looking for new meanings to our lives. After all, we weren't made with a purpose in mind. We were simply made to survive and live. But since survival has become overly simple for us, we then started looking for other meanings to our lives. We started using purpose to live fuller lives, and not the other way around. But also, what it means to be human is to let ourselves be shaped by the things that occurred to us in the past, by the people we were blessed to meet, and by the memories we were able to gather. All of this literally shaped us into who we are today. Thinking about it, Considering that every cell in your body is replaced at least once every 7 to 10 years, we literally become different people with time. So the only things then that we carry throughout our entire lifetime are all the memories we gathered. They are the only things that shape us into who we are now. A fact that Vivy realizes well by the end of the show. It took her unbearably long to understand what it meant to put her heart into something. But she finally did when she realized that it simply meant to value all of the past memories she had made and accept that they all shaped her into who she is now. It was only then that she was able to put all her heart into writing her very own song. To remember everyone who she met along the way and to value everyone she had lost. She learned what it means to truly become human. To value everyone you love. Because you wouldn't be yourself without them. Humans are not made up of bolts and parts. We are made of the past memories we experienced throughout life. Memories that we have to value for as long as we can. Because unlike AIs, we humans, we can die. And one day we will. So make sure that you can find a way to value life to its fullest and to realize your human potential. Because we may not be as smart and robust as AIs, but instead of that, we have something even greater. We have our humanity, the love we are capable to feel for others, that which connects us all. I dare you to find out what makes you human. Thanks for watching, guys. Feel free to subscribe and check out one of my previous videos right here. This channel is all about looking at video games and pop culture from a different perspective, about digging deeper into the meaning of life and how we can get there with video games, movies and TV shows. So if that interests you, maybe subscribe, maybe hit the bell to be notified. What about that, huh? Yeah? Okay, good. See ya!
Best of luck to you, old friend. L.